So this is a pre-classic sculpture, very early, and it has a profile of a god. Here's the ear spool and the eye, his forehead, his nose, there's his nostril right here. See? Then he has this big long beak that comes down here like a bird beak. There's the lower teeth over here. And a snake comes up over through the mouth, comes down over here, and is drinking from this big jar that's on the side. There's a big cántaro here with the neck and the rim of the jar. This god is looking this way to this panel, and on the panel is the earliest writing, incised writing in the Maya world. Impossible to read. It's a whole new system of writing we've never seen. We've never understood it before, so we can't read it. We are inside structure, what we call structure 34, or the Jaguar Pa Temple. What this is essentially is an earlier building that dates to the Middle Preclassic period. These stones are 1.5 meters long. Incredible, huge blocks with the long axis exposed. This was carved by specialists, and they put a very thin layer of plaster. This is the original plaster surface here. It's a very logical use of plaster, very well used, and it covered all these stones originally. So now we got to go see some exciting art over here. And right up here is a tooth panel. This is the black line tooth panel we find on it's on both sides of the mask. You find the same panel on both sides, indicating a maxillary tooth. These teeth right here. Then above that, this is the nostril. The nose, the big nose right here is all here. And then up inside that, this big bulbous element with this U-shaped glyph element right here. Very interesting symbol of early preclassic power. For example, look at this beautiful eye. This is an eye here. This is an eye. This is the eye. But it has all these strange black lines in it. One of the amazing things is the variation in color in Middle Preclassic art. You have black bands and cream color and red and this incredible pink color here. All these symbols of scrolls and symbols that are painted on this stuff is stuff that we would never see that had been exposed to the air, exposed to trees and rainfall. It all destroys this. Some of the other stuff that's interesting, for example, look at this gold colored powder that's here. We had that powder analyzed, and it is decomposed leaves. This is all powder from their leaves. So this building was apparently abandoned for some time before they built this over it. Here's the wall, the original wall. So there was a man standing back here, took his right hand with mud and packed it right there, and there's his handprint. There's the handprint. Here's the thumb and his fingers right here, and the palm of his hand right there. That's 2,200 years old. It's a small causeway on the edge of the major reservoir system here. They cut across this. You can see how the reservoirs were constructed, where they're channeling water off all these big buildings into this incredible system of elite residences and palaces and enormous structures like you see over here. This is one of the great discoveries we made when we're looking and investigating the water collection systems. But then what was astonishing is the edge of the pools are lined with extraordinary art. We know the date from this building because it was covered with pre-classic ceramics. This is a pre-classic bowl that was found right in its original location. We left it there because it's very typical of this kind of ceramics about that time period. It was found right there. That's where we leave it. Here, the face and the headdress and the ear spool, the arms, the elbow, the hands of one individual in this format. He's got his body here. One leg comes down here and another leg up in here, as if they were swimming. What's curious, though, is on his rump, he's carrying a head. This head has the nose and the mouth, the closed eye, the headdress, and a number 1, Hun, up in here. The head has also been decapitated and has a blood scroll that comes off the head here, which you can see that blood scroll. Well, it looks like this is none other than Hunahpu carrying the head of Hunahpu, the father of the hero twins. Now, if this were the case, we should have the reference to his brother on the other side. And sure enough, the brother, the hero, is found over here with the face a little different than his brother, but a jaguar headdress. Very jaguar-esque headdress, the ear spool, and not only that, he's got a tail. One of the crucial stories of the Popol Vuh was how the hero twins had to go into the underworld and recover the head of their father, who'd been decapitated by the evil lords of the underworld. And this is certainly one of the great mythological scenes of all Maya history, recorded permanently in stucco. On the upper panel, we have this marvelous great creator god, Itzamna, is portrayed in the middle. In this form, he's a bird. He's got a big bird wings on both sides here, and he's got the bird legs that come down. He has a large ear spool here, and he has a nose, a big nose and sunken teeth because he's the old god, and he has a beard here. When the Popol Vuh was found in 1700, there was much criticism. For years, scholars had accused that this was a document that had been heavily contaminated by Spanish influence. There was a heavy contamination of English Christianity in the document. To the contrary, the images that we find in art such as this, between 300 and 200 BC, shows us that the Popol Vuh was autochthonous, meaning that it's a book that completely is aboriginal to the Maya. This is the stairway for getting in and out of the city. This wall was probably 20 meters high on both sides originally. So a tremendous construction, 4 kilometers long, one of the greatest walls I've ever seen in all of Mesoamerica, but this is one of the access to it. That's plaster, that's stucco. All the roads were white paved stucco. Yep. Because it got thicker and thicker and thicker. So this is... This is the third level of Danta Pyramid. This is probably the steepest and largest of the three platforms. Look at how those big blocks, instead of putting a block this way and using 3 or 4 blocks instead of one, or using 1 block instead of 3 or 4, they ran it this way into the building, which required much more blocks. And it's a very expensive building. Not only did they build to put the stones that way, but they covered it again with plaster. So you would have never even seen the stone that way. We only excavate one side of the building. We do that for 4 reasons. Number 1, it's cheaper. For one building at Tikal, I can do 4 buildings here, because they excavated all 4 sides of the pyramids. I only do 1. Number 2, I can bankrupt the country just in the maintenance of this architecture. Number 3, I leave trees for the animals and the birds and the monkeys. And number 4, I leave something for the scholar 200 years from now that has a superior technology and can get much more information than what I can get. Welcome to the top of the Maya world. This is the highest building in the Western Hemisphere, anciently.